I'm going to hit record, and I hope somebody knows where to find it. All right, good stuff. All right, everybody, it is 12:16, so we're going to get started. I am excited that all of you are on here today. Very excited for this partnership that we've put together with Zillow. And so I'm going to just kind of introduce the team that's going to be talking to you, and then just give you a couple of things to think about as we're going through this. So if you're already familiar with Zillow Showcase, you kind of understand this. If you're not, Nate and Sarah and Bobby are going to walk you through kind of what it is, what it does, some of the numbers behind it. I want you, though, as you're going through this, to think about this from a couple things, because a lot of you have already reached out saying, oh my gosh, I've got this listing that's not selling. When are we going to get Zillow Showcase? I want to be very clear, and I hope everyone stays on after I say this. Zillow Showcase is not going to help you sell an overpriced listing. Okay, I just want to be clear on that. All right, let's see how many people left. All right, all right. So if you're looking at this, this is my savior for my overpriced listing. I don't want you to look at it from that perspective. Where I think this is a really great tool, and everyone will kind of pick for themselves, I want you to, one, look at this from the perspective of getting more listings, because you'll be able to use this on your listing presentations. And our wonderful marketing team has already created a flyer utilizing some of the stats that you can implement in your listing presentations to help you get more listings. So I think that right there is the main thing that this is going to help out with. And then on top of that, once you have a well-priced listing and you get all the wonderful photos that the team's going to go over with you, the exposure you're going to get for more opportunities to sell the listing faster, because time is money, is going to help out. And then also the opportunity to generate some additional leads from that to either double end or more. So that will happen, but generating more listings, I think, is really one of the things I want you to think about as they're going through this, because to me, that's the biggie. That's really the biggie in this whole tool. And the fact that we have this partnership is phenomenal. I don't have to explain the power of Zillow. We all know the power of Zillow. Some of you are still upset about the power of Zillow. Get over it. Okay, just get over it and just accept it for what it is and utilize the services that they have. Really, really great thing. So we've had the pleasure of meeting with Bobby, Nate, and Sarah a number of times. I say we've had the pleasure because they've had to deal with me a number of times, so they have not had the same pleasure. You all know me. I can be rather difficult to deal with. So feel bad for them and give them all the sympathy that you can. But without further ado, I want to turn it over to Bobby, Nate, and Sarah from Zillow. You all, I appreciate the time that we've had. I appreciate you being on here doing these trainings for our team. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this partnership, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It looks like we have well over 100 folks here, so that's incredible. Thank you thank you to the Masters team for organizing. I know there's a lot that goes into it, and thank you to all the Masters agents who are taking the time out of the day to learn a little bit more about Zillow Showcase. Robert does a really great job of setting the stage, and I will say it's been a pleasure working with him and the entire team. And I'm really excited to kind of take the first portion of this conversation to walk you through very high level Zillow Showcase. There's a few different things that I'll touch on, mainly around, what is Zillow Showcase? Like, how did we create this product? Where are we at with it to date? I'll spend some time going through what I refer to as a standard or traditional listing on Zillow. And then I will spend time looking at a showcase listing, actually two showcase listings that I have pulled up. And then towards the tail end of the conversation, what we'll really discuss is more so strategy behind Zillow Showcase. So to Robert's point, a really, really effective way to gain more listing conversations and convert more sellers. But more importantly, there's even more there that we're going to discuss today. And I think it'll be really powerful for all you guys to hear. With that, I know we have a lot of folks on the Zoom. We're going to hold questions. If you want to ask questions in the chat, definitely fire away. But we will hold off until the end of the presentation because a lot of the questions, more often than not, are answered throughout the entire presentation. So feel free to drop them in the chat. Sarah, myself, and Nate, we will address those as we kind of roll through the presentation. So without further ado, let me talk to you a little bit about where we started with Zillow Showcase. So back in February of 2024, we launched Zillow Showcase. It was a really exciting time for Zillow, primarily because it was really our first go-to market for listing agents or products for listing agents directly. Folks that have been in the industry for a while, you probably remember Zillow had featured listings that actually happened right when I joined Zillow. So that was about like 8 years ago at that point. We were sunsetting the featured listing product. But Zillow Showcase is really our first iteration of a product driven directly for listing agents and sellers. And with that, where we're at currently is we have about 2.5% of listings nationwide that are published on Zillow receive this enhanced treatment. And we will walk through, obviously, the benefits of Zillow Showcase, exactly what it looks like, so on and so forth. But again, only 2.5% of listings across the country have this enhanced treatment. Why we created it? To Robert's point, it's a really great way to insert yourself and win more listings, convert more appointments. But there's even more behind it. We have substantiations around getting those properties sold faster. We have substantiations around selling the property for more money. So there's some unique things that we'll discuss throughout the conversation today. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. And Robert, if you want to give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen before I hop into that, that would be great. Cool. So what I have pulled up is just a standard listing on Zillow.com. We won't spend much time here. Many of you on the call are familiar. But again, about 97.5% of listings appear in what I refer to as a standard or traditional format on Zillow. All right. So you, of course, have the media that's captured up towards the top. As we work our way down the listing, we have the listing description. We're also given some of the public view data in terms of the exposure that the listing is receiving. And then buried underneath that data, we're able to identify who's actually listing the property. All right. So many of the folks on the call, again, are aware of the listing and how we market these standard listings. But as many of you are aware, it is very hard to identify on a standard listing who the listing agent is. All right. There's no call to action. We are ultimately, or listing agents are relying on the consumer finding the listing agent, copy and pasting your name, searching on Google, or taking out their cell phone and calling that number directly. All right. We know that 99.9% of the time, a consumer is on a standard listing on Zillow. They are not doing that. All right. What they are doing in turn is they are requesting a tour or they are contacting an agent. All right. Both of these two options will funnel directly to our Premier Agent network. All right. So whether that's a paying agent, team, or broker in that given zip code, right, they will receive that opportunity, or it could be a potential flex partner or the new term preferred partner who is receiving leads and paying a referral fee ultimately on that contact that comes through. All right. So not much there. Again, in terms of the standard listing as well, the current experience, whether you're on mobile or on desktop, which we're viewing right now, you go ahead and click on the media and we will see all of the media. All right. We have to scroll through these different images the exact way that you, the listing agent, uploaded it to the MLS. All right. So that is our standard listing. Again, 97.5% of listings across the country. So with that, we then flip to what we refer to as a showcase listing. And there are a few obviously noticeable difference in terms of how a showcase listing is marketed and presented on Zillow compared to that of a standard listing. The first thing that you will notice up towards the top is what we refer to as the carousel images or the hero image. And what that is that's basically a slideshow of 3 to 5 photos that the listing agent selects of either the interior or exterior of the property to draw consumers into this listing. All right. What we are doing here, specifically through this product functionality, is we are relying heavily on what we refer to as RMX internally, or rich media experience. right? We want consumers and potential buyers to be blown away by not only the beauty of this showcase listing, but also the media that is presented, when this property hits the market, right? And we will talk a little bit about media in just a second throughout the conversation. Underneath that really captivating, eye-drawing media, again, very stark difference to that of a standard listing. It is not hard to identify who is actually listing the property. All right, so for this specific example in Florida, we can clearly see that Barbara is the listing agent. We know that she works with Century 21 Ocean. We are also able to learn more about Barbara and her business and her local expertise, right? All of the listing agents, right, that are utilizing this product will be given obviously the opportunity to create their profile, fill out their bio, add their contact information, so on and so forth. All right. We'll discuss the substantiations mainly, and Robert kind of hinted at it, mainly around how we are driving more exposure to these listings, roughly about 2/3 more engagement than that of a comparable standard listing in the marketplace. But this is a huge opportunity for you as the listing agent, not only to impress your seller in terms of how you're going to market their property on Zillow, but also to impress future sellers as well as buyers that are interacting with this listing. And what's really, really great about it is it's a really great opportunity for you to brand yourself in the local marketplace, right? You have your name, your contact information, your website, so on and so forth, on a listing that is receiving more engagement, which is a really, really great way to build your business and get more eyeballs on your brand. So what's really nice about it as well is you can include obviously your website. You can also include social media links such as Facebook or YouTube or whatever you might want to do to redirect consumers to additional resources to learn more about you and your business. As we work our way down the listing, what we'll also kind of look at here is how we segment the media differently. All right, and we call this by on a showcase listing, we refer to it as group by room functionality. All right, so again, on a standard listing, we are taking all of the media exactly how you uploaded to the MLS and portraying it on that standard listing. On the showcase listing, you have the ability to segment the media or group the media on different focal points within the property or even potentially the exterior. All right. So in this specific example here, obviously we're looking at the living room. We're able to get a better general sense of the media, exactly where, exactly what that living room looks like. And then we're tying in the interactive content around the floor plan and the 3D tour, which I'll discuss in just a second here. Right. But it's a really, really great experience for the consumer ultimately when they are landing on this listing to do further and deeper research, hopefully before reaching out either to you, the listing agent, or going ahead and setting up a tour with their local agent. Another key point here, actually 2 points. One is this is really the first time you as the listing agent can edit a listing before it's marketed on Zillow, right? Which is really, really nice. You can really pinpoint the specific media that you want consumers to see over and over again, which is wonderful. We also have a decent amount of artificial intelligence baked into the showcase product. So as soon as your media is uploaded for this listing, our AI will recommend ultimately what images should go towards the top, as well as what rooms should be segmented down below. All right. It is purely a recommendation, right? Just know that you, as the listing agent, have the final say in terms of how that showcase listing is published and how potential buyers are going to see it on Zillow.com. All right. A few other call outs here. All right. The big one tends to be the contact options, right? So these are different than that of a standard listing. You will notice, all right, Barbara's number is listed here, right? On mobile, this is actually click to call, all right? So we know about 80% of consumers that are searching on Zillow are on a mobile device or the Zillow app. And they can either call you directly as a listing agent, or they can contact Barbara, in which they fill out their information, submit it, and that lead will be sent directly to you. All right. If they do request a tour, that will continue to go to the Premier Agent Network. All right. For showcase listings, we know that they're receiving more engagement. It's about a 50-50 split. Right. So 50% of consumers are contacting the listing agent directly, 50% are requesting a tour and going to the Premier Agent Network. Right. And I want to reinforce this, and Robert, like I said, always does a great job of setting the stage. We did not create Zillow Showcase as a lead aggregator. All right. Its primary function or its core function is it's a listing marketing tool. It's a way to brand yourself effectively, impress your sellers, do more transactions, so on and so forth. It is not necessarily, hey, let's just showcase a listing so my phone's ringing off the hook. All right. So it's really important that you set that expectation. I've worked with many agents across the country in the year and a half that Showcase has been live. We have agents that showcase listings. They don't receive a single lead ultimately from the showcase listing. We then alternatively have agents who showcase a listing. It's well priced. The media is great, so on and so forth. And they receive 5, 6 unrepresented buyers directly from the showcase listing. All right. My push would be utilizing it and positioning it correctly, and we'll talk a little bit about strategy, but using it on the majority of your listings. All right, the more you use it, obviously, the more you're going to impress your sellers, hopefully win more listings and get all the other benefits that we'll discuss, as well as the opportunity to receive buyer leads directly through the program. All right. I won't spend too much time on the media. I will kind of hint at it because I know Nate will cover it in more detail in just a second here. But it is important to note that for showcase listings, you are required to have a Zillow 3D tour and floor plan. Nate will go into more of the details ultimately in terms of how you capture that media and what that looks like. I'm sure there will be questions as well. We're happy to answer those. This is exactly what that user interface looks like, right? It's really sleek. The listing agent is branded up towards the top left. The consumer has the ability to kind of flip between photos, the floor plan, and the 3D tour. And this interactive floor plan will update in real time when the consumer is searching through that experience. Another huge selling point when you are meeting and sitting down with your sellers and discussing Showcase. So I know that's a lot. What I want to do is I want to transition to some of the product functionality, and then we'll just kind of high level what that pricing looks like ultimately and the benefit that you guys have being a part of the Masters Network. So the first thing that I want to call out here is the product functionality. So one of the things that we're doing outside of an algorithm that we've created to drive more exposure to your listings is making these showcase listings appear differently on the Zillow.com map. All right. So many folks, I'm assuming, are familiar with the Zillow.com search experience. What you'll notice, obviously, is there's a list view and there's a map view. A lot of those consumers that are focused on specific neighborhoods, so on and so forth, they're going to use that map more often than not than the list view. All the red dots in the map view indicate for sale by agent properties, right? So if I'm searching in Bakersfield, California, I'm going to see hundreds of red dots that signify active properties on Zillow. Showcase listings stand out, right? So they appear slightly larger. They have what I refer to as an Instagram sparkle and a showcase tag associated with them. To be honest, it doesn't seem like that life-changing of a product functionality. I can assure you that that does drive more clicks and exposure, ultimately to the folks that are leveraging the map portion of the search experience on Zillow, right? A few other things that we're doing, and probably my favorite product functionality that's built into Showcase. I also know it's Keith's favorite product functionality as well, which he mentioned on one of our calls, which is how we help market this property on behalf of you and the seller, right? So many folks on the call, again, are probably familiar with Zillow marketing campaign emails. We all get them. Hey, Robert, here are the 10 recommended homes for you in Marietta based on your search history. All right. So we know what consumers are looking at, what homes they're saving, what their saved search looks like, so on and so forth. And we, in turn, obviously are promoting and sending listings, obviously, to get more and more buyers engaged on those listings. With Showcase, what's really, really nice, right? So that standard email we send out, 10 different properties, 10 different listing agents, 10 different brokers. It's highly congested. With Showcase, we have a single property marketing alert, right? So if you have a Showcase property, when we send out that email, it's only your property, only your media, as well as your branding and a way for consumers to contact you directly through that email marketing campaign. Not only that, but we also track it. All right, so I'll show you this in just a second here, but we do have a performance dashboard that shows you how your listing is performing against comparables, as well as how many emails we've sent out and how many are being interacted with ultimately. And the way to position this with potential sellers is because of this partnership, right? Because of the ease of access to this product, Zillow is unlocking a certain amount of data to help market your property and get it sold faster for more money, so on and so forth. And where I'm going with that is that, like I said, we have the data. We know what folks are looking at, how often they're signing into Zillow, so on and so forth. We know what they're typically interested in. And if that hits the criteria for your showcase listing, right, they will receive one of these single property marketing alert emails to even further engage them with the listing and hopefully get them to interact ultimately. Right. So a huge benefit here in terms of how you position this. And again, to Robert's point, marketing is already working on flyers and different ways to insert this into your listing presentation, as well as we are working with your team internally to help deliver the easiest pitch when you're sitting down with these sellers. Let's cover some of the fun stuff. So one of the things that I discussed as well is 2/3 more engagement. All right, here are the numbers. All right, so we know that active showcase listings are driving on average roughly about 79% more page views, 76% more saves, and roughly about 91% more shares than comparable, all right, standard listings in the marketplace. All right, so these are the numbers in terms of how your listing is performing, showcase versus a comparable traditional listing in that marketplace. A few other things that we do know as well. We do know that roughly agents that are utilizing Showcase in the majority of their listings are winning about 30% more business, right? So that's a factor of, utilizing it to win a listing. It's your brand being exposed, all right, on these Showcase listings. There's a bunch of different things that go into it. Extremely powerful. We also do know that Showcase listings are about 10% more likely to go pending in the first 2 weeks than comparable standard listings. And then probably my favorite, which is Showcase listings on average are selling for roughly about 2% more than comparable standard listings in the marketplace, right? So all very powerful, right? When we think of it from a strategy standpoint, and I know Robert, we had discussed this before in the past, there's a couple different ways to look at it. Obviously, to win a listing, right? That's kind of the easiest kind of way to think about it from a use case scenario. But we see agents across the country being very successful utilizing this in price reduction conversations. Hey, we have a listing, it's not getting the exposure, it's not getting the traffic and activity that we thought. Let's give it the showcase treatment, which you can absolutely do. All right, you can flip an active listing to showcase as long as the required media is there. And that helps with that price reduction conversation as well as retaining the listing. All right. We do also know that agents are utilizing this to potentially negotiate a higher commission. Right. You guys are providing this as a marketing tool for your seller. Right. It's going to cost money ultimately to you at the end of the day. Right. Because of that, this is what my commission looks like ultimately to list your property on Showcase. Right. Which again is not a benefit that every agent is going to have in the marketplace. All right. So use it to your advantage. Use it strategically. We see agents, like I said, across the country consistently using this in a few different ways to ultimately grow their business, put more money in their pocket, and be very successful. So the last two things I wanted to show you. One was actually a newer feature that we launched just to hop into a separate showcase listing here. We've also included video as part of the showcase experience. And I came across this listing today, so I just wanted to show it to you all quickly. You'll see here now in the showcase experience, we can answer further details in terms of the requirements of the video, but video is now baked into only showcase listings, right? Which is a really powerful tool, as well as a really great way to impress your sellers, which is awesome. And then what I did want to conclude with is the performance ultimately on the listing. All right, so I'm hopping around a little bit here, but this is what the back end of the system looks like, and Nate and Sarah will cover this in more detail in just a second. But this is where the media lives. This is where your listing is going to start, and this is where your performance metrics are going to live. All right, and what's really cool about this is you will have full access to exactly how your listing is performing, as I mentioned. So we can see obviously how this listing is performing against comparable listings in the marketplace. We show you different graphs ultimately in terms of how it's performing as well. We're showing you that email engagement, how many we've delivered, how many are being interacted with, as well as the buyer activity in that marketplace. right? So this listing, of course, happens to be located in Florida. We know that 64% of the buyers that are interacting with it are located in Florida, with the top being Merritt Island, of course, where the listing is located, accounting for 12%, right? Really, really powerful, rich insights. Use them to your advantage. You can download this report. It will white label with your branding up towards the top left. It's a really, really great thing to send out to your seller. Hey, here's an update on what we're doing on Zillow specifically, or even using for future conversations with sellers in terms of the power that you can provide them through Showcase. All right. I will conclude with this. I know there's a whole lot of questions in the chat. Um, Pricing. All right. So what does it look like? It is very simple. All right. And I will tell you how we sell this to individual agents in the marketplace. And then I will tell you the benefit ultimately that you receive being a part of the Masters Network. All right. So depending on where you're located, all right, for most of the folks on the call, you're most likely going to fall into what we refer to as tier one, or where we sell this at $750 per listing. All right. So if I'm a random agent from an independent brokerage in the marketplace, I want to buy Showcase, or my seller asks for Showcase, I'm going to contact Zillow. They're going to sign me up on a 6-month subscription. All right. So I'm required to basically commit to them for 6 months. And a minimum is one listing per month. All right. So I'm paying $750 every 30 days for one new listing. Right. There's obviously a lot of barriers to entry there for many agents. One, it could be the price point. Two, it could be, hey, Bobby, I don't have 6 listings over the course of 6 months. So how can I access this product without necessarily wasting my investment? And what's really, really nice is Masters has done the negotiation for you guys. They believe in the product and the end result that it'll drive not only to the agents, the brokerage, and all of the folks that you service. So with that, they have negotiated a very strong price point for you all. All right. That price point is $200 flat. All right. So $200 flat to use this for a listing, whether it's a new listing or a listing that you're planning on flipping, plus the cost of media. Right. So you guys are getting media at the end of the day, regardless. So it is a really, really lucrative price point for you guys to take advantage of it and hopefully use it on the majority of your listings, considering the benefits. Right. Think about the ROI. The substantiations that we discussed: higher sale prices, moving the listings faster, potential for buyer leads. It goes on and on and on. So it's a really, really great tool. And I would recommend everyone gets familiar with the system, number one, before we launch. And number two, starts incorporating in their day-to-day and start experiencing the true impact that this is going to drive to your business. So with that, I am going to stop. I know I've covered a lot. I think I probably went a little bit over time, but I'm going to stop there and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Nate and Sarah.
All right, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, so as you guys can see, Showcase is very, very exciting, and what it can do for you to help elevate your game is also just incredible. So with that, we're going to get a little bit into the back end of what you guys need to do to get set up on the workspace in order to be able to showcase your listing. And I just want to caveat, just like everything, when you guys first became agents and kind of had to learn how the MLS works and how new tools work, it does take just a little bit of time to figure out. But once you do figure out the process that I'm going to walk you through, it's very, very simple and very easy to replicate. So just prepare yourself mentally to just take a couple of minutes and actually learn how to use the tool, and it'll just save you a lot of issues as you have hot listings that need to get to market fast. You're very well adept at using the process, and it'll be very smooth for you. So as we get started, I sent yesterday a invite link to the email that you guys all have on file with the brokerage. So you have a link inside of that email that will take you to the workspace. That the thing about that link is that it does expire after 24 hours. So if you don't get to it within 24 hours, do not fret, do not despair. This is how you're going to log into the workspace to get set up. You're going to go to ZillowShowcase.com and you're going to click New to Zillow Workspace and then sign up. From there, you're going to enter the email address that you have on file with the brokerage. And I can't reiterate this enough. It's important that you understand what email you have on file with the brokerage. That's the roster that your leadership sent to me. That's what's uploaded into Showcase, and that's how you're going to be able to access your Century 21 Masters Showcase workspace. So if you're unsure of what that email is, make sure you get clarification with that. So once you have that email, you're going to enter the address on file with the brokerage. You're going to create a password, add your phone number, and then you're going to get sent a code. Once you have that verification code, you're going to enter that in, and you might have to click resend on that email to come out to you. But once you get it, enter that verification code in, and you should see this screen asking you to accept the workspace. You'll click accept, and then it's going to take you into the workspace. This is what we call the Zillow Showcase workspace. So you're going to hear me refer to that a bunch as we go through this presentation. And the first thing that you're going to be presented with is your agent profile. Now, this is important because this is your external branding. What Bobby was showing on the showcase listing of what populates for you as an agent on the showcase listing, you're going to put that information in here. So make sure you copy over your profile bio and put that in here. Make sure you have the right contact information that you would like people reaching out to you in, and make sure that you upload a profile photo. You're not going to be able to load a listing into the system without this being done. So if you skip over it and you're just trying to get logged in, before you can upload a listing, it's going to ask you to come back and finish your profile anyways. But your best practice, take a couple of minutes. If you already have a bio written out, you can copy and paste it in there, or take some time and write one out here with the correct contact information that you want them to reach you at. Once you have that done, you'll see in the right-hand corner, you'll see your name with your account. Once you're in the workspace, you're going to click on your name there, and you'll click on My Account. From there, you're going to be presented this screen here, and this is where you're going to connect your MLS profile. You'll click on the Add MLS Profile, enter in your MLS details and your agent number, and click Submit on that. And then you will come down and connect your Zillow agent profile as well. So it's important to understand that the showcase profile and the Zillow agent profile are not the same. So you still, even if you have a Zillow agent profile, you still need to make sure that you build out your showcase profile as well. Connecting the Zillow agent profile is what's going to pull over your agent reviews. If you have reviews on Zillow, this is what's going to pull over those reviews to your showcase profile. Everything else is not going to be outward facing. So your MLS data or information and your Zillow profile information are not going to be outward facing. Only your showcase profile is going to be the outward facing digital yard sign that is on the Zillow showcase listing. So some just basic best practices for creating your profile. Don't be a floating avatar. Make sure you upload a profile pic. Link your Zillow profile so that your reviews show up, unless you don't like your reviews, and then maybe don't do that. But if you do like your reviews, you want them to show up there, make sure you link your Zillow profile, put your preferred phone number and email in there that you would like people to contact you in. And then if you have any social media or website links, then you connect those there as well. So now that you have your agent profile set up and you're logged into the workspace, the next thing you're going to want to do, obviously, is create a new listing and be able to showcase that listing. So once you're back here in the workspace, you'll just come over to the top right-hand corner, click Add Listing, and then you're going to get this screen that's going to immediately come up. And that's where you're going to enter the listing details or search for the listing address. You'll populate it there. If you want to put your seller's name, you can. You'll put your you as the listing agent, or if you have a listing coordinator doing this for you, they'll put you as the listing agent here. And then you'll put your Century 21 Masters there. You'll click Add Listing. And then it's going to take you back to, it'll actually probably take you back to this screen here. And then you'll click on that specific listing. And that's what's going to take you to this screen here. At that point, if you're ready to go ahead and start showcasing your listing and you have and you're ready just to start walking through the process, you'll click Order Showcase in Media. And once you click Order Showcase in Media, that's when you're going to be prompted to pay for your credit. You'll enter in your payment information, submit payment, and then it will take you into the media section. So before we get into the next step of how you order the media, we're just going to talk about some of the media requirements necessary in order to showcase a listing. So Zillow Showcase has specific media requirements that you need to make sure, and I'm going to say this a couple of times just because it's very important, so that you get that. These are the specific requirements that you must have in order to showcase your listing. So you have to have a minimum of 10 photos, 3 interior rooms, and at least 1 photo of those 3 distinct rooms. You have to have the Zillow 3D Home Tour, specifically Zillow 3D Home Tour, and the Zillow 3D Home Tour interactive floor plan. How are you going to capture those different media? We have a plethora of different options. So a lot of the time, I know I did. We have photographers that we're loyal to, we've worked with for a long time, and we like the work that they do. So that's fine. You can invite your photographer to Zillow Showcase, and they'll create a profile. Once you click Get Media or invite your photographer inside the workspace, they'll be sent an email that's going to prompt them to sign up for Aereo Lite. It's a free account for them. An Aereo is a platform that most photographers are already familiar with. So they'll be prompted to create their Aereo Lite profile. And if there is, and from there, once they create that profile, they'll get some information and some links that's going to take them to the Zillow photographers page. That's really going to walk them through exactly what they need and the materials that they need in order to capture Zillow Showcase media. And if they don't have the correct camera in order to capture the media, then we do have some discount codes that we can offer them in order to get that. It's not a very heavy lift. I had one that when I was an agent, I would do virtual tours for people that were remote and looking in the area. This is a 3D Insta360 camera that captures that 3D tour. So it's not that heavy of a lift for them if you get any pushback on that, for them to be able to go capture that media. If you don't have a preferred photographer, Zillow has W-2 employees that are trained specifically in the Zillow media process, what needs to be captured and how to do it. They are vetted and high quality professional photographers, and you can order it with them, the Zillow media experts, straight from the Zillow Showcase listing as you're going through the process as well. The essentials package is everything that you guys need in order to showcase a listing. And your brokerage masters has negotiated the price for that to be a $245 flat fee capture for that media, no matter the size of the listing. These are currently the areas that we have Zillow media experts. So as you can see, we have plenty in the California area. You can always check on the Zillow Showcase website to see if we have the ZMX in your area. And when you do click order media, it'll populate, or it will say that ZMX doesn't exist in your area. So just with that, the Showcase, as Bobby said, tier 1 without this master's package that they've negotiated for you guys is $750 in your area. So for you guys, it's just going to be the $200 for that Showcase credit with the $245 of the essentials package, and then any add-ons that you want to add on to the package with the photography as well. So one of the questions that we do get a lot is, I have a pre-existing listing, and I know Robert already talked about it a little bit. Can I take that pre-existing listing and turn it into a showcase listing? And you absolutely can. We call it flipping a listing. So but you will still need to fulfill those media requirements. So yes, you have already captured media and you have that listing live on the MLS and syndicated across all the platforms. If you don't have these specific pieces of media, you are still going to have to go back out and capture those pieces of media in order to flip it to a showcase listing. So just something to be aware of, something to take into account. And I think it's a really easy sell to your sellers. I know a lot of the time you're like, oh, they have to clean the house again, I have to schedule another photographer with them. But when you really can talk to them about what the benefits are of Showcase, how many more eyeballs they're going to be getting on your listing, it's kind of a no-brainer for them, and you shouldn't receive that much pushback with it. So this is just one of those stats that I was alluding to. The 75% more page views, saves, and shares compared to similar listings that were on Zillow without Showcase. So you can just tell that to your sellers all. If you want to breathe new life into that listing, if it's getting stagnant or it's sitting, it's been sitting for a while, you can tell them this is a great way for them to really reinvigorate that listing and get it moving for them. As Robert said, though, there is nothing that's going to save a listing that's well overpriced. We all know that price is the first thing that is the most significant contributing factor to selling a listing, but Showcase can really help that. If you are competitively priced, but it's a really competitive market, is a really great way for your listing to be able to stand out, get more people in there, and get the home sold. So now we've talked a little bit about what those media requirements are. When you are inside the workspace, you'll click your order showcase in media. And so this is what you're going to be presented with. It's going to ask you these two questions. Do you need to order your media for your showcase? If you already have all the required media necessary, you can click no, I have all the required media, and it'll take you to a different screen that you can invite your photographer to upload that media to Aereo, which will then syndicate with Showcase, and you can click and it'll all populate there. For this example, we're just going to say, yes, I need to order my media. This is a new listing. You haven't captured any of the media yet. So you click yes, I need to capture my media. And as I was talking about before, these are the options that are going to come up to you. If you have your own photographer, this is where you'll invite them. You'll type in their email address, and then this link will be sent to them in order to set up their area light profile and their showcase profile. If you want to use the Zillow Media Experts, which is really the easy button, as I said before, they're guys that just know how to go out, capture the media. Then you can click to book the Zillow Media Expert photographer now. And then Showcase Select are photographers that they're 1099 photographers that pay to be featured on Zillow Showcase in your area. And if you're not loyal or beholden to a specific photographer and you don't want to go Zillow Media Showcase, that's another great option for you to be able to get your photography captured. They already have all of the necessary equipment to be able to go out and capture that media for Showcase. So it's just kind of your hybrid method if you don't want to go full Zillow Media Experts and you don't have a photographer that you want to use. Once you click on your option that you want to order your media through, you're going to be able to confirm the address and details of the property that the photographer is going to be capturing. So you'll just add all of that in here, and then you'll be able to pick any add-ons that you might want into that photography package. You'll be able to schedule it directly from the Showcase website as well. And once you schedule it for the date and time and click submit on that, they will get an email in their and a notification in their Aerial Light profile or in their Aerial profile that is a work list for them that shows the date and time that you want that photography scheduled for. So I know I'm moving fast. Feel free to throw questions in the chat as they're coming up about this, and you guys will have the reporting. But after the media has been ordered, the photographer will then upload that media. And this is important as well. The photographer is going to upload that media themselves into Aerial Light or into their Aerial profile. And then it will show that media has been delivered here on your pizza tracker. And from there, you'll be able to review your listing on Showcase. The reason that it's like that is because the photographer still owns the rights to those photos. I know you're used to getting the media and then uploading it directly to the MLS and going through that way. The photographer still owns the rights to those photos. And so this is the way for the photographer to say, yes, Zillow can use these photos. And so it's just a legal matter that they have to be the ones that upload it via Aerial Light. So just be aware of that processing step as you're going through and getting the media captured. So once they've gone and uploaded the media to Aerial Light after they've captured the media, you're going to see that it's been delivered and the showcase has been created here on the pizza tracker. And this is right in when you click on the listing inside the workspace. This is the first thing that's going to come up in the overview page so that you can see where the listing is at in the showcase process. So once all the media has been uploaded, I know we had a question earlier just asking about how you're going to be able to edit it. At this point, you're going to automatically be taken to the editor. And that's where you're going to be able to customize what you want on that carousel. If there's specific photos that you really want to highlight or the video that you're going to upload, this is where you're going to be able to edit everything from the carousel to the featured rooms, to the photos inside of the featured rooms, to the order that you have those featured rooms in. This is the spot where you're going to live and be able to really edit and customize the listing exactly how you want it to come across for that buyer experience as they're perusing it on Zillow. You'll be able to review your agent branding and make sure that it looks right. And if not, you can go back into your profile and edit it exactly how you want this to come across as well. And as I said before, this is where you'll be able to edit the featured rooms. So just some basic best practices when you're activating your showcase listing is edit your showcase listing before making it live on the MLS, download your media, upload your media to the MLS after you have it from on the showcase listing, and then paste your MLS friendly interactive floor plan and everything else that you need into the MLS. And then from there, once you have all of that done, once you click go live on the MLS, it will syndicate across, and the first experience that they get on Showcase or on Zillow, the buyers get on Zillow is going to be that showcase listing. Bobby already talked about this a little bit, but this is a really great way for you to be able to click into that individual listing and be able to speak to your sellers on how that listing is performing. So they're always going to have questions, and they really love to know that their listing is performing better than the other listings out on the market. It's a really great touch point for you to maintain that relationship and rapport with your sellers. and a great way for you to be able to get insights on how the listing is performing against the rest of the market. So you can just get great market insights from being able to come in and should pull that performance information as well. Now you guys will have this. I've already sent this information over to Dylan so that it'll live on you guys' internal website as well. If you guys are having any issues with the showcase process or you get stuck somewhere, this is going to be your first line of defense. You're going to go to Zillow support. You have VIP Zillow showcase support with this Century 21 package that they've negotiated. And these are support personnel dedicated specifically to helping resolve issues within Showcase. So they're very well versed in any kind of technical issue that you might encounter. And this is where you're going to live and breathe if you have any issues. So make sure that you know how to reach out to them. And if your photographer has any issues as well, we have dedicated support for them so that they can get that media uploaded as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible as well. So if they have any issues, and they'll get this information in the link that gets sent to them in the Zillow Showcase photography link. But if you want that to be able to send to them as well, feel free to take that down. So that's how you're going to upload, and that's how you're going to get your profile set up. That's how you're going to be able to set up your first listing and subsequent listings on Zillow Showcase. And I'm just going to launch into a couple of FAQs that we have that are just the most frequently asked questions to kind of start from there, and then we'll open it up for questions after that. So can I use Showcase on rental commercial lots and land listings? No, you cannot. Showcase is only for sale residential homes that are listed on the MLS. So that's a caveat. They also must be listed on the MLS in order to showcase. If you're being prompted when you're creating your workspace, when you're logging in, if you're prompted to create a workspace, that's a red flag. You're using the wrong email. And from there, you just need to talk with your brokerage, make sure that you're using the correct email that you have on profile. It's not going to work for you, and you'll create your own showcase listing and then be trying to buy credits at the tier 1, or you won't even be able to log in. So just make sure that if you get this screen when you're trying to create your workspace, you double check the email and then log into the Century 21 Master specific workspace. This is another big one. Can I use Matterport for the 3D tour? And the simple answer is no. You have to use the Zillow 3D Home Interactive Floor Plan and Virtual Tour. As I talked about before, this pizza tracker, when you're in your workspace, as soon as you've clicked on that listing, this is really, if you have any holdups or you want to see where the listing is at, this is really the first line of discovery you're going to come to see where that listing is at in the showcase process. So if you're wondering why it's held up somewhere, this is where you're going to come, and then you're going to know it should help you understand who you need to reach out to help move that showcase listing along in the process. So your photographer, once you send them the invite link, they're going to be sent that media. They're going to get an email with instructions on how to upload the media, as well as a link to the Photographer Resource Center that's going to have its own list of FAQs for them and other resources for them to really be able to get set up to be successful in getting the listing showcased. I would say best practice for you guys, if you have a preferred photographer, is right now, before we go live with Showcase for Century 21 in a couple of weeks, reach out to them and get set up so that it's seamless. So that you guys have already mitigated any issues. You've already reached out to support, and you guys are ready to rock and roll when we do go live with Zillow Showcase for you guys. Just a good best practice to kind of be preemptive about any sort of issues you might have. This is another big one that we get all the time. How is Showcase listing affected by changes made in the MLS listing? If you change MLS details, that will automatically be pulled across to Zillow the same and syndicated the same as every other listing that you've done before. If you want to make changes in the media, that's when you're going to go into Showcase and have to make those changes specifically inside of Showcase. If you change your photos around on the MLS, it will not automatically pull through and make those photo changes on Zillow Showcase. So that's just something you need to be aware of. If you want to change the media, you're going to go into Zillow Showcase as well as on the MLS and make those changes there. If you just change some of the information about the listing on the MLS, that will automatically be syndicated and pulled through. One other thing is, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but your Zillow.com profile is different than your Showcase profile. The support contact information that I gave you earlier is specific to Zillow Showcase, and they won't be able to help you at all with your Zillow profile. If you have any issues with your Zillow profile specifically, you're going to email this email here, partnersupport@zillow.com, for any non-Showcase help with Zillow, and that's the support system that's going to be able to help you there. Showcase support is specific to, obviously, Showcase and their Showcase listings. So just make sure that you have the understanding of the two different support pipelines that you need to go through to mitigate different issues that you might come across. This is a bunch of resources that are available that live on Zillow's website inside of Zillow Showcase for you guys. I've already sent all of these links to Dylan, and she's going to have them living on you guys' Century 21 Masters website as well. So you'll be able to access all of these links there. But it's just a really great resource for helping you understand the benefits of Showcase, helping to mitigate any issues that you have, and other sort of educational materials, as well as your photographer's educational materials as well. So with that, that's all I've got. What questions do you guys have at this time?
So Nate, couple things. First of all, great job, you and Bobby and Sarah also in the chat. There was a couple questions in the chat that we weren't able to get to. One was, if they upload their own videos, is it okay if it's branded?
You know, the video feature is a little new as of like 2 weeks ago, and
Okay.
I'm gonna have to double check on that answer for you. Unless Sarah, you might know, but I think I'm gonna have to go back and ask them specifically to get you that information.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
agents are able to like customize them. We've seen ones where the agents do talk in them. But in terms of like actual branding, if it's like tagged branding in there, that's a great question.
Okay.
We'll follow up.
Another one was, how long does it take to get a Zillow photographer out to the property and get the media back?
Yeah, that's a great question. And generally, the photographer can go out within 24 to 48 hours and get the media back as fast as their pipeline allows them to upload. Once they've captured and edited that media, for them to upload it to you.
If you are doing the essentials package, their turnaround time requirement is 24 hours. So if you have a shoot on a Thursday, they are required to have it uploaded by that Friday, with the exception of Sunday. So if you have a Zillow Media Experts photographer come on a Saturday, it won't be uploaded until that following Monday. We do give them Sunday off.
Oh, what the hell? I'm just kidding. And then just this came up a couple times. I know, I think Bobby had answered it, but just to clarify, so the 245 media package, just go over real quickly, what does that cover?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 245 media package is the essentials package itself. So what that covers specifically, and I can pull that slide up here so you can look at it again, is the Zillow 3D home tour, your photos, and the floor plan. That's what the essentials package is. And any add-ons from there are going to come at an extra cost.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And then I just want to clarify something, because this got brought up as well. How long does the listing get showcased? It's for the life of the listing, but it has to be the same listing, meaning that if you have a listing and it goes and it's active for however long it's active, it can stay on showcase. If it goes pending and it falls out of escrow and it goes back to active, it's still on showcase. However, if you cancel a listing and then create a new listing, you have to do a new Zillow showcase. Okay.
If the MLS number changes.
If the MLS number changes. Right. Okay. So I just want to clarify that for everyone, so that way it's not a confusion of, well, I canceled it, now it's back on the market, do I get Zillow Showcase again? If it's a different MLS number, no, you got to do it again. But if it goes into escrow, falls out, it goes right back to Zillow Showcase.
Yeah.
The pictures thing, and I know Bobby had mentioned as many pictures, so there's no limit on the pictures the photographer will take. They'll take as many as needed for the property, because obviously some properties are bigger than others. I do want to share like a little fun story, because he mentioned it has to be a house, you can't do land, lots, or things like that. And I asked that question. I said, can they do land? And he goes, well, how are you going to do a 3D on land? And I went, good point. Good point. Thank you. So, so yeah, no land as far as that goes. Good stuff. I think, let's see. Will the photographers also do drone? I think that's an
So
extra service,
it
right?
is, yeah, it's an extra charge and it's specific to Zillow Media Experts. At this time, only if you use the Zillow Media Experts package can you add that aerial footage.
Okay, got it. There you go.
And no, not commercial. It has to be residential.
And yes, you can't use Matterport. However, Matterport is just a company. Like it's not the actual process of the 3D tour. So pretty much any photographer that's a real estate photographer can do a 3D tour. You just can't go directly through the company Matterport. Okay, what are some examples of add-ons?
Be like your aerial drone footage. That'll be your virtual staging. Sarah, what else is there that they have on that?
They have tons. They can do
Yeah.
like removal of stuff on a TV. They can make grass look better. They have honestly a ton of different add-ons. They can do the videos that we talked about. So there's quite a lot of different things. Pretty much anything your standard photographer can do, only probably a little bit more that they offer.
And I want to reiterate to everyone, because I know this has come up a few times on the photography thing. If you have a photographer that's done the photos or done drones or done anything like that, you can, but you still need the 3D or something like that, you can always just do that a la carte, right? So if you want to pay for the 245 package, which includes the photos, the 3D, the virtual tour, like you can do that. But if you have a photographer that's already done the photos or has already done some of that other stuff, you don't need to pay the full 245. You can just get the 3D a la carte and whatever that cost is. So the 245, if you just want to lump it all into one, but you can always just get things individual as well. So like, for example, if you're flipping a listing, like you have a listing right now that you want to flip to showcase, you probably already have the photos. And because all of you are master's agents, I know you all use professional photographers, right? Right, Robert. So the photos will probably work. So maybe you just need to add the 3D thing. So that might just be an a la carte thing to add. So you've got some flexibility with how that works, but the 245 package is something that we work because, for most photographers on the streets to get the high res photos, the 3D, the virtual is going to cost a little bit more than 245. So we worked out that deal, and glad that Zillow was able to do that for us. So that's just there if you need it.
Robert, a question. If we have a $245 that was he's charging for the 3D and also a photograph, or the drone is extra charge, right?
The drone is extra.
Yes, but photograph and the 3D is including 245 per month for one listing. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And it is
245 is the
residential.
photos, the 3D, and the virtual tour, right, Nate,
And the
Sarah?
virtual.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
3D
So-
virtual tour and photos for 245 per month for one listing, and it's a residential, not
For
the
one
commercial.
listing, not for 1 month. It's for one listing, and it's for as long as that listing is active.
Oh, yeah, per month. Oh my God, that's great. You explain better.
Yeah.
So it's for one listing for 3 months, 4 months, or however the listing.
Yeah. As long as the listing is active. So if you sign a
Okay.
1-year contract, a listing agreement, it takes you 1 year to sell it. I hope that's not the case, but if
Yeah.
it is, it's on showcase for 1 year.
So
there you
it
go.
means per listing, no matter the time, it doesn't matter, but it's 245, including a 3D,
Correct.
virtual tour,
Correct.
and photographs all together.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
What I would suggest to everybody, because I know some of us are like, what are the cost of the a la carte things? Nate, Sarah, unless you want to address that, when you go into it, when you submit your listing, they'll have all that stuff there. Because it probably depends a little bit on the property as well, I imagine.
Yeah, all the a la carte pricing will be when you go in to select specific components on there, all for the different component that you're trying to get a la carte, that will be on there.
Yeah. So it's tough to give a universal answer to that one. Good stuff.
If there's someone just want to do 3D, what will be the separate charges if they have already photograph and a virtual tour already there?
Well, that's what
Just
we were
for
just
the
saying.
3D.
So when you submit your listing, there's some a la carte options if you want some other things, but it depends on the size of the house and things along those lines. So I can't really give a universal answer. When you go in there to submit your listing, it'll tell you the cost
Okay,
of
it
those
depends on the
items.
square footage.
And
Yeah.
I did share all of that information. I just don't remember it off the top of my head with Dylan, and she has that to be able to put inside of you guys' internal website as well as you're looking at showcasing.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so we'll get all that stuff out there for you. And then yes, it's the showcase itself, just showcase, that's the $200 to get it on showcase, get all the benefits of showcase. The $245 is for the pictures, virtual tour. So if you want to use the Zillow photographers, the cost is $445 for the showcase and photographers. If you don't want to use the Zillow photographers, it's $200 per showcase, and then you pay your photographer separately. So, if your spouse is a photographer and you want to pay him in peanuts, that's fine. Pay the $200 for showcase, give your spouse the peanuts, and and then you're good, right? You don't have to pay the extra $245, but you're going to have to pay the photographer no matter what, whether it's through Zillow or through your own. So, just look at it from that perspective. I don't want this to turn into, oh, well, Zillow Showcase is $445. It's like, no, it's $200. You have to pay the photographer anyways. So you just have the option of either paying it through Zillow or just paying it separately. Yep. Good stuff. One other thing I did want to point out on the benefits too, and we talked about this, and then we'll wrap up here, because they talked about how to use it to win listings, price reductions, commission, things like that. By letting the seller know that you're willing to put the money on the line, that also gives you a little financial incentive. You can use that, I've already kind of written this out, as a way to get the price you want. So if you think the house should be priced at 900,000, the seller wants 950, and that's overpriced. Say, look, if we price it at 900,000, I'll also spend my own money to promote it on Showcase at 950. I'm not going to spend my own money because it's overpriced. So there's another way you could kind of leverage that as well. All right, cool, good stuff. All right, that's all I got. Sarah, Nate,
Robert,
Bobby, anything
one last
else?
question. One last
Yeah.
question. If you want to do a flip property and you have everything but the 3D tour, is that an add-on or is that the full
Yes,
245?
that's an add-on. So you would just pay for the 3D tour.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So if you're flipping and you already have the photos, you already have the virtual tour, you just don't have the 3D, then yeah, all you have to do is pay the add-on for the 3D, and then you're set up. But again, and then just to verify the cost, it depends on the size of the house and all those other different things. So you just have to check the a la carte price for that specific property. Good stuff. But this is great. And just to let everybody know as well, just how invested we are as a company, because we think this is so great. We promised Zillow that we would do 1,000 listings with them over the next 12 months, because we're that invested in it. So if we don't do it, us as a company is on the hook for the $200 of whatever the difference is. And so I'm not like, I know you don't care about us spending money, but I'm just telling you, that's how invested we are and how great we think this is going to be, where we said, yeah, you know what, we'll do 1,000. And if we don't use 1,000, we'll pay the difference. And because the ones that we do use are going to be that impactful. So yeah, no pressure. No, I'm not worried about it, because the one we use are going to be so impactful that we're going to be okay. The agents are going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I hope we use 1,000, but if we don't, we'll pay it.
We'll be fine.
But,
okay, so
yeah, but
last question.
I just want you all to know, like, that from a company standpoint, this is how much we believe in it, that we're putting our money up there. So Will any other agents appear on the listing? No, it's only the listing agent.
And then just to
You-
clarify, there's no monthly fee, correct?
No, it's only per listing. And you can use this as many times as you want. So if you have 25 listings, you want to do it 25 times, have a ball. All right. Yeah, so there you go. All right, good stuff.
So that's
So
25 times 200.
yes, 200 per time. But we have a couple agents in the company that even prior to this use Zillow Showcase on all of their listings. So we have Kyler out of our Canyon Lake office, who's one of our top listing agents. He already uses Zillow Showcase. And so he was paying the full price on it because it's just that much value. So he now loves us that much more that he now gets to still use it, but get it at $200. So some people are going to want to use it on every listing. Some of you might want to pick and choose. I'm just letting you know that you could use it. There's no cap on it. If you want to use it on every one of your listings, have a ball. If you want to pick and choose, you can do that too. Yes, we will be
Robert,
sending out the links, the video, all that stuff for everything.
so Robert, just to clarify that we have a current listing, we can actually do the showcase, right?
Yes, November 17th. So
Okay.
our discount goes into effect November 17th. So we're doing the trainings now, so you can, like they said, get your photographer. If you want to use your own photographer, get them set up on that system. It starts with an A, I forget it. Get them set up on there, have them already know what they need to do. Like you can start getting yourself set up, or if you're going on listing presentations now, and you know it's not going to hit the market for a couple of weeks, promote it now. Go win some listings now, and then on the 17th, boom, you get Zillow Showcase. So, but we didn't want to do this on the 16th and be like, it starts tomorrow. So we're doing a training today. We're doing the same exact training Thursday, and then we're doing another Friday, which is this Friday is just open Q&A. So we're giving ourselves a couple weeks to be really set up so everyone's prepared. And we will, yes, send out the videos, send out the links. Dylan's putting it on the agent resource guide because that's just what Dylan does. She always excels at all those things. So it's going to be all over the place.
And Gloria, to your question about that flip listing, you're not going to be able to go live until you guys launch on the 17th. But if
I
you
see.
want to if you want your photographer to go capture the media beforehand, that's not a bad idea. So you already have the media ready to go so that they can upload it once you do go live, and you can get your process of flipping that listing dialed in a lot more quickly.
Even though I actually already did the photos and then he has to repeat the photos all over again.
If you capture it, then you would just need the specific components necessary to make the listing showcased.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, good stuff. Nate, Bobby, Sarah, thank you very much. Lots of really great information. So appreciate all that. And and looking forward, we're going to do this again Thursday, Q&A Friday. So if you have more questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to be the contact for the agent. So if you have questions, send them to me. If I don't know the answer, I have all three of these wonderful people's emails. I can definitely get the answer for you. So ask away while we still have them available, because I'm sure after Friday they're gonna, block my number. But but good stuff. All right, I appreciate all three of you, and I appreciate all the agents being on here. I think this is a wonderful tool, and I hope we really take advantage of it to go generate some more listings. All right,
Thank you,
everyone, thank
everybody.
you. Let me
Thank
stop
you.
the recording.
Thank you.